Hi there, welcome to today's painting tutorial. Today we are going to paint a bee with acrylic paints. So let's get started. And I'm going to start with the yellow first. Let's take a size 0 round brush. And I want to start with some of this darker color here, the burnt sienna. And I'm going to go sort of on the outside of the bee. And we're doing the light colors first so that we don't get them muddy with the black. So I'm just doing these little strokes that sort of mimic almost like the fur of the bee. Okay, and then I'm going to mix this next color, which is a medium yellow. So it's a really warm yellow that has almost an orange color to it. And I want to mix that in with that burnt or the burnt sienna. Okay, and then we can get lighter. So you want to pick up some white paint and then feather that in the center. And you can allow that white to mix together on the page with that yellow color. Okay, and then there's a section up here above the head that is also yellow. So let's start with some burnt sienna and then add that yellow. And then we'll put some white, create a little bit of a highlight at the top. We grab a little more white, just using the tip of the brush to make these textured marks. Okay, so then this section here, we want that to be yellow. So take some of the burnt sienna and start feathering that around this shape up here. Okay, and then it's going to come down this way. And then up around the head area. And then let's take the warm yellow color and start feathering that in. Okay, and then we want a lighter yellow shade. So I'm going to take that other yellow color that is just a little bit less orange. I'm going to mix some white in with that. And then let's start putting that in. And if you wanted it to be really bright, you could grab a clean brush and put that yellow paint and some white into that center. That way there is no brown on the brush. It's just going to make it a little bit brighter. Okay, so we have yellow, black, and then let's put the yellow down at the bottom. So I'm going to take the dark brown, and this area is a little bit lighter. So just take the light yellow and then some white. Okay, and then I think we need another yellow section sort of in here. I'm just going to put a little bit of yellow color around that center. Then some white in the middle. And it doesn't have to be anatomically correct. Just painting for fun. Okay, so I think that looks good. So now let's work on the wing. And for that, I'm going to take this burnt umber and put that around the wing. Okay, so you want this to kind of diffuse as it gets towards that area. So you can use quite a bit of water if you want. And just see if you can put some of these wing shapes. They're kind of like little veins or almost like little sections of stained glass. Okay, and then you can pick up some white and sort of put that in there. Allow it to mix with the burnt umber. Maybe it has a little bit of yellow on it. That's okay. We'll give a nice variety of color. Just sort of filling that in with some white. Okay, and then same idea for the back wing as well. Just add some of the burnt umber. Add some water if you need to, so that it blends a little bit easier. And like I said, this is sort of diffused. Okay, and then pick up some white and sort of put that in between the lines that you made. Okay. And again, you don't have to put much detail here. You can do as much or as little as you want. Okay, so now let's go to the dark area. So for this, let's actually put in the eye. So I'm going to take a black paint and let's put that around the top here. And then I'm going to pick up a purple. Let's mix that in. And then I want to get lighter. So I'm going to pick up some white. And let's put that in next. Okay, and you want that to sort of blend together. I'm going to come back with some black. Okay, and then I'm going to take the black and then put a ring around that eye with the black. But I want to leave a little bit of a white space, just as a guide. Okay, and then let's start putting that in just around the head area. And then we have the bottom of the face. And with that, I'm going to put a highlight. So I'll take some purple and then put that purple sort of in the center. Okay, and then we'll take the white and highlight a little piece here. Got a little bit too much water on the brush. So you probably want to let that dry, but try, see if you can get a highlight. And then that sort of feathers out with some little bit of white paint. Okay, I'm going to come back with the black and sort of clean that area up. Okay, so now let's continue with the other parts of the body. So let's take the black paint and we'll come over here. Just want to use these sort of textured marks. And the idea is to have the dark paint on the outside and then to get lighter. So I'm going to add some purple in there to get a little bit of a lighter value. Then I'm going to add some white and allow that to get lighter in the center. Okay, so let's do that same thing for the other sections. So take your black and make these little fur textures. Okay, grab your purple. And then pick up some white and put that in the center. Okay, let's do that to this section over here. So we're going to take the black paint and you can sort of vary the direction of the fur. Maybe it's coming towards the right side. Okay, and then pick up purple. Get a lot of texture. And then white into the center. Okay, so I'm going to take black and come down here underneath the body, getting that texture, and then purple, and feather that in. Okay, and then pick up some white paint, and then put that in the center. Okay. All right, so now we have to do the legs. And for the legs, we can put some yellow in between them. So let's take some burnt sienna. Just add a little burnt sienna in between the joints. And you could add some yellow as well. It's just going to give it a little more interest, a little more color variety. Okay, so we'll use that same idea with the legs. Actually, I'm going to put some brown here at the top. Okay, so take your black paint and go around the outside of the leg. Then pick up the purple. And then add a highlight in the center. Okay, so black around the outside. Get some water on the brush if your paint needs to flow easier. Always trying to get that right consistency. Use the fine tip of the brush to get to that leg. You can also add some little sort of spike shapes. Then I'm taking that purple, putting it in the center, and then putting the white in the center. Okay, so we'll take the black, go around the outside edge, add that purple, and then put in some white. Then purple, and then white. We'll do black. I'm going to make a few little hairs here. and then purple, and a little bit of white. Okay, and then this section, we'll do black, purple, and white. And then black. Again, put a few little spikes. And then purple. And then I'll take the white and then just put that as a highlight. Okay, so I'm gonna clean up this edge over here. All right, so now we can work on adding some highlights, and let's actually use this script liner brush, which will give you a really thin line, and let's use that to put in the antennas. So we want quite a bit of paint, and roll your brush into the paint. Then see if you can get a nice straight line for the antenna. And if you don't get right over that pencil, you can just go back and erase it after the paint has dried. Okay. So now you can use this brush and go back and add some highlights. So let's take some white paint. And I'm going to try to go around this eye. And then I want to bring out a highlight at the top here. Then a little bit more at the bottom. Okay. And then I'm going to start just putting some final highlights down here. I'm going to add some texture, a little fur texture. Okay, and I could put some of that over here along where some of the black areas are. This white is going to stand out against the black. This just gives you a little bit more realism and detail. Okay, and I might take some yellow and mix it with some of this white to get a nice light highlight yellow color. And you can go back with this color and sort of use that to add some more texture. Okay, so just have fun with that texture and go ahead and add as much or as little as you'd like. Okay, and this is how you can paint a bee with acrylic paints. I hope you give it a try. Like and subscribe for more painting tutorials, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!